water is better. You know, if you don't know, now you know. You should know because that wasn't too long ago. I've been using Go a lot. I wonder if you guys think these intros are cool or not, or if you think they're weird. Actually, I don't care because I like them. But what I like even more today, and I hope you guys are doing well by the way, is what the topic we're gonna be talking about today. And does Brighton find their players? Generally, how do these guys find their players? I've heard about Matoma, Caicedo, even McAllister. Oh, McAllister, guys. Trossard as an Arsenal fan. How does Brighton, this team from England, find all these underrated ballers, bring them to the Premier League, they turn up, and then they sell them for a big profit? How do they do this year after year after year? It's literally been one of the coolest business models I've ever seen. It's like Moneyball, if you guys have watched Moneyball. If you haven't, it's a great movie, you should check it out. And me loving football, but also loving statistics now, even though, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do too well in statistics in university, but me now loving statistics and liking programming a lot, although I do get some help, guys, from my little robot friend to help me program. So does that make me a vibe coder? I'm gonna let you guys answer that. But hey, we all need help sometimes, guys. I'm not perfect. So as long as I'm learning, I think that's all that matters. But back to the topic, like that one J. Cole song, Brighton has got all these ballers that are underrated and they basically sell them for a profit, but they do very, very well and they're a joy to watch. And I've seen it happen and they've been able to stay up in the league at the same time too. And I wonder one day, actually guys, if they're gonna win the whole Premier League. I don't know, nobody knows. But today, I wanted to take my statistical knowledge even deeper. So what we're doing today is I've created a random forest model and taking the data from FBref. Oh, I'm not taking the data, borrowing the data from FBref, borrowing. You heard that, CIA? Borrowing the data from FBref. They actually gave it to me for free. They left it at the mail. So borrowing the data from FBref, I took some of the famous transfers that they've had. So Caicedo, Mitoma, I took Trossard as well, Gyökeres, which is a big recent one. And there is a fifth one, Pascal Gross, who was a long-standing player at Brighton. A player that stayed, but they didn't sell off, but I thought performed pretty well. I mean, any of you guys that did FPL, you would know how good Pascal Gross was week in and week out. You could say he's kind of gross. Thank you. Anyways, so I took those 5 players and I borrowed their data of their standard stats and basically was able to borrow it from the websites and used a random forest model, which is a model in statistics that basically creates a bunch of binary trees and tries to find underlying patterns in the data and see anything that is, from what I can understand, correlated. If I got that wrong, oh well, I can always learn, but from what I understand, that's what it is. And if I did get this wrong, that's why I'm human and I'm here to learn. But saying it on the internet and getting it wrong, like, yes, I get made fun of and I make a mistake, but positive, like, I learn and there's nothing wrong with that. But basically, we're using that model today to see if there's any underlying things we can find in the data and see what, maybe get an idea about what these scouts are looking for, because what I heard is they don't really like to share their formula at Brighton and nobody knows what they do. So that's what we're doing with this series. So first I created the model. Let me pull it up on my laptop here. I promise you guys, one day I'm gonna get an editor and then all of it's gonna be edited and you guys are gonna have so much fun watching my videos. But right now we are very low budget. Like Zlatan said to that one interviewer in Paris one time. But basically, here is the coding. It is all done here. it is all done here, basically. It's all coded. And basically, the results from my random forest model is we've had a training accuracy of 100%, a testing accuracy of 0.538, and a cross-validation score of 0.489, which are decent, but I think could be improved for sure. But let's get into the nitty-gritty stuff, the important stuff about this model. And the things that were important, so I took the standard stats from FBref, so that includes goals, assists, expected goals, expected assists, the difference between expected goals and assists, as well as passes completed, progressive passes, progressive carries as well, number of starts in the career, and as well as the position of the team that they're in by the end of the season. But as well in this model, all of this happened before the player was signed to Brighton. So we have to consider, for example, for a player like Caicedo, there wasn't too much data about the South American League. So see, this model already isn't perfect. So that's just a disclaimer, but it helps us get an idea as well. And I included basically some important factors to measure. So obviously those stats are givens, but we also want to think about things, underlying stats, like a player's confidence. Like if a player is attempting a lot of shots or attempting a lot of progressive passes, that's probably something we should look out for, because that means the player is confident in themselves to take that risk and do that. Even though maybe it's not working out in that season, if there's an improvement in the amount of attempts they're taking, that kind of goes to show a sign of growing confidence in themselves. Because a player that is generally not that confident would probably keep those same numbers or even regress in the amount of things they are attempting. Or if we see a player's goals increasing, assists increasing season over season, if a player's team is performing better season over season when they're playing and having a great season, there's some correlation to that as well. So a lot of underlying factors we're looking at here, and I've been able to basically create some important features. So the 20 features that we have is progressive passing rate, starting rate, progressive passes, minutes per game, progressive carries rate, progressive receptions rate, shot frequencies, goals, starts, minutes improvements, team position improvement, expected goals, progressive carries improvements, minutes played, matches played, goal involvement, team lead position, starting rate improvement, and team performance score. And yeah, that's pretty much it, which is a lot so far, but I think more could always be added, honestly, which is the cool thing about these models. But basically what I found out so far is 5 important features. The 5 most important features from this was the progressive passes rate, the progressive passes that the players were making, which is the progressive passing rate, and the progressive passes is their total, but the rate is how many times they're doing it in a 90-minute game. So we noticed that players making the most progressive passes during a game, that was something important, and that's what we noticed a trend in this. And we also noticed the starting rate as well. So not how many times they started in their career, but how many times a season this player started. That is good because that means the coach relies on this player and they're somewhat important. The progressive passing rate is good because that means that the player is looking to move the ball forward and looking to take on risks as well, but also probably has the technique and the decision making and intelligence to make the proper progressive passes. And then the third most important stat is actually the progressive passes in total. So not the amount of times it's happening in a game, but throughout their whole career has been pretty important. Minutes per game as well has been an important stat, because if the team is doing well, right, and that player is on the pitch, that's probably an indication that that player has an impact on the game, which is super, super cool actually. And then we have the progressive carries rate, and this basically goes to show my dribblers here, people that can break the lines with the dribble, beat a man one-on-one, sparks of creativity. This was the 5th most important thing. And that goes to show it's important. It shows the player has the technique to beat players. It shows they have the confidence to take on players as well. But it also shows that they have the vision to realize what to do to beat players. and they have the creativity to be players, because that's kind of something that you do spontaneously and you can't really control ahead of time. So a lot of great traits, and it also shows risk, because in order to beat somebody one-on-one, you need to take a risk. You're the one making the decision for the game. You're the one being like, yes, I'm taking this guy one-on-one. So that's really, really cool, because normally maybe you would think like total starts or goals or shots attempts would be up there, but they're not. They're actually at the middle of the pack. So very, very cool. And even things like XG is in the middle, which is crazy because we talk about it all the time. So it's very, very interesting to see these things. The next steps is I'm going to try with every Brighton transfer to see. We'll see what happens with bad transfers, if there's anything. And yeah, I'll let you guys know how the model goes, and that will be in part 2 and everything like that. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and peace out. Bye.
My sprite like Easter, pink bad bitch in the under Milanista zip.